We can't say enough into your ear to give you knowing. Your knowing comes only from personal experience, and this inner knowing that is always there for you, you've got to tune to it before you know it. You just can't take somebody else's word for it to be yours. For your vibration to shift and your point of attraction to shift, your vibration has to shift. So source is expanding and evolving, as are you. Humans often think that source is finished and perfect, and now you're trying to catch up, when what is really going on is that you in your human form are extensions of source, and it is through your exposure to life that causes you to ask for more, which source then embraces and then becomes. Did you understand? So when we say that you have an inner being who has an inner being who has an inner being, what we're actually saying is, here is this vehicle, but before this vehicle was this vehicle, also source, and before this vehicle was this vehicle, also source, and before this vehicle was this vehicle, also source. So just like you stand in your 90 years on this planet, but you are one time in your 80s and in your 70s and in your 60s, and while you are not that 1-year-old anymore, still that 1-year-old is part of this 90-year-old that you are. Just understand evolution is just that way. Yes? And what's tripping you up is that you weren't willing to let source be like that. You weren't willing to let source be something that also is evolving, and so that didn't make sense to you. But now it does, if you think about it, doesn't it? A lot of people see their belief system as like an onion, and they just peel away layers that don't serve them. And that's one way of looking at it, except that while you're looking at the onion, or while you're looking at the beliefs that aren't serving you and trying to peel them away, you're not peeling them away. You are doubling down on them. You are making them stronger. You are making the onion impervious to being peeled. Does that make sense to you? Because there's no pushing anything away. And so rather than trying to get rid of old beliefs, we're asking you to embrace new ones. Here's this onion, get in this one. Just move more in the direction of what you are wanting. It's not getting rid of anything. It's allowing yourself to be what life has caused you to become. The other day, Esther was sitting with an intention of cleaning her vibration up on a subject. And as she was doing that, she was using a process called focus wheel, which is, here's the problem. She wrote it at the top of the page. This is what's bugging me. And then she drew a big circle in the center of the page, and in the center she wrote the exact opposite as near as she could define it. I've got this, what I want to feel is this. So she made her statement of intention in the center, and then she just made some statements that sort of bridged between the two. She made as many statements as she could that were more like what was in the middle and less like what was at the edge. She tried to make more statements that matched where she was wanting to be and fewer statements about where she was. Does that make sense? That's sort of the benefit of the focus wheel. And then she did another one and 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 another one, until she just wanted to throw the notebook in the swimming pool. Sitting by the swimming pool, she could feel she was bogged down in it. You heard us earlier say, by the way, we're out here on the leading edge, so come along, let's have fun. You heard us say earlier that the problem and the solution are expanding equally. In other words, the velocity of a problem and the velocity of the solution are expanding. They're different frequencies. But what Esther was feeling or sensing was that the more she was trying to fix this problem, looking for a solution, she was actually enhancing the problem rather than finding the solution. So her focus wheel, even though she had good intent, she wasn't getting anywhere with it. Have you ever had that experience? So she sat there, closed her notebook, sitting there holding the pen in her hand with the notebook on her lap, thinking or deciding to stop thinking for a minute. And then the thought came to her, if I could have anything I want regarding this, it was sort of a world event sort of thing. If I could have anything I want. And then right in the middle of that thought came an improved onion, one with less layers that were binding her. Since I can have anything I want, not if, since I can have anything I want, what do I want? And because Esther's tuned into us so often, that bridge was an easy one for her to make. And all of a sudden, she was overcome, maybe the best word that she would use, with clarity of desire that was so pure and clear and absent of any problems. It was like anything that she wanted, it felt fresh and new, and she wasn't dragging old beliefs and trying to fix them. It felt to her like she went through a portal where all things were possible, and her desire was at such a heightened place. She tapped right into the desires on that subject that she'd been accumulating maybe her whole life, and felt the clarity of what her inner being knows about that. That's what you're reaching for. And it's not going to come every day, but it is going to come on the things that really matter to you. But you have to find a way. This is the bottom line here. You have to find a way that the beliefs that you're dragging around are not active at the same time that you're focused on your desires. Because whatever you're focused upon is active. And if you've got an active belief in your vibration, it is most likely blocking out your reception of what you really want. So you just got to decide, what influence do I want to be under? Do I want to be under the influence of source or under the influence of something else? Do I want to be under the influence of the solution or under the influence of the problem? And you know how you get there easily is meditate. Because when you meditate, you stop your thoughts, and when you stop your thoughts, you stop your beliefs, and when you stop your beliefs, you stop your resistant beliefs, and when there's no resistance within your vibration rises, and there your inner being is right there ready to meet you with clarity. With clarity. So no rush, because your inner being isn't saying time's a wasting. Time's a wasting. Your inner being is just right there, knowing what you want, knowing where you are in relationship to what you want, guiding you to exposure to thoughts and experiences that take you closer and closer and closer to what you want. But you know what trips so many of you up? Often you're standing in a place that you don't want to be, and your inner being is calling you closer to where you want to be. But because you're being called closer to where you want to be, and because you're like the corn in the ground that is evolving and it's not going to happen all at once this red hot minute, you grow impatient. You're not sensitive enough to note the improvement, because you're looking for the manifestation rather than looking for the improved emotion. If you could let what you're looking for be just feeling better, if you could let what you're looking for be a sense of relief, if you could let what you're looking for be a vibrational experience rather than a park it in the garage experience, as in a car manifested or a business manifesting or a lover manifesting, if you could let it be just the improvement in the way you feel, then you could know for sure with firsthand knowledge that you are moving toward what you want. And just like the farmer with the seed of corn in the ground, you're willing to let it be in the ground. Oh, this isn't hard. It's so easy, but it does require reorienting yourself from a physical what is world. If you're so enamored by what is, wanted or unwanted, it can't become more. You have to be willing, and this is a big ask. This is a big ask from us to you. You have to be willing to feel your way rather than see, hear, smell, taste, touch your way. You have to be willing to feel good because you sense it, not because you have proof that others can see. Last night, Esther always comes to the hotel early, and They give her a speedy route, usually in most hotels, from her sleeping room through the service elevator, through the kitchen to the backstage. It keeps her steady and always is nice. And the night before, the hotel staff, nice woman, showed her the way. So when Esther awakens, she always feels that sense of knowing how to come. So as she was shown that entrance last evening, she had an impulse that she has never had before. She said, where are the main elevators in relationship to this service elevator when I get to the mezzanine level? And the woman said, just right outside the door, just right around the corner. And so as Esther went down, she stepped out and looked at that, and she saw the main elevators and a door that led her in. In other words, it was like a plan B that she had never thought to ask for before. But it was very clear. She asked for it and found it, and there it was. And so this morning when she pushed the button on the service elevator, she could hear clanging and banging, and the door would not open. It would not come. It was hung up in some way. And then another girl came in who was servicing the floor, and Esther said, is this elevator not? No, that elevator is not working this morning. And Esther thought, oh well. She knew exactly what to do, because her inner being knew that that elevator was not going to be working this morning. How you want to know? Infinite intelligence knows everything that's coming about. There's a pattern about it. So you want advanced announcements? Esther always says, Abraham never gives me the backstory on anything, just the impulse. Even now, no backstory on anything, just the words right now. The appropriate explanation right now is what she gets. And so you all are living that all the time. Esther got on that regular elevator and stepped out of it and came into the known environment and felt so happy for the guidance and so glad at the ease of it. You see what we're getting at? There are so many ways to get from where you are to where you want to be, and often it's not the plan that you have devised, but the plan that you've devised is not necessarily the best plan. Esther devised a plan to ride on an elevator that was not going to be working the next morning. That's not a very good plan. So her inner being had devised another plan, and there's always another plan, another plan, another plan, so many endless plans. But humans, you get hung up. You think you need to do it exactly the way that you'd planned to do it. But when you factor in infinite intelligence and what infinite, can you just try to wrap your mind around intelligence of such massive proportion that it understands everything about your now vibration and how that fits with every other frequency or offer of every other vibration on the planet, and knows what matches up with an intention of always guiding you only toward what you want. Your inner being is never guarding you from something gone wrong, always guiding you toward what's going right, always. So we just want you to know these things you want so much, since I can have anything that I desire, and since I have put it piece by piece by piece into a vibrational reality, and since it exists, we're shouting, and since source energy, my inner being, knows to the infinitesimal detail what I want and who I am, and since my inner being is completely in love with the blessed being that I am, and since these signals are being offered constantly, I might want to meditate so I can sync up with that.